Welcome into the latest edition of our Cubs REKAP Podcast. It's a presentation of our REKAP YouTube channel and the REKAP Network, and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcasts. With the Cubs mired in a little difficulty, this could get messy. He is Gordon Wittenmeyer, my partner. I'm David Kaplan, and it's brought to you by our great partners at the Illinois Tollway and their If Only campaign. Folks, quick time out to talk about something serious. We've all said it before. If only I had slowed down. The Illinois Tollway's new campaign is called If Only, and it's a powerful reminder that speeding doesn't just put you at risk. It affects everyone on the road. Every crash leaves someone wishing they'd done things differently. So take the extra time, slow down, save lives. Lives, including yours, depend on it. All right, Gordon. Cubs are mired in a little bit of difficulty. They celebrated a week ago. They had champagne and they had the goggles on and everybody was all excited. And they haven't won since. They lost to an okay Reds team twice by 1-0 scores, swept away in 4 games, and then they blow a 6-1 lead against the New York Mets on Tuesday night at Wrigley. Cade Horton's pulled after 3 innings with a little tightness in his back. It sounds like nothing serious. You saw him up front, up close and personal for 4 games. Your thoughts?
I saw them at their worst this season, Cap, unless you want to count that Mets game that they led 6-0 and blew. 2 1-0 losses. One of those you write off. It was the day after the clinch and Hunter Green's pitching and he throws a gem, complete game, 1-hitter. So you write that off. But you should be able to show up the next 3 days and win a game. And one of them was another 1-0 loss that the Reds bullpen came in and just shut down. So I'd have some concerns right now. And first and foremost, I'd be concerned about where Cade Horton goes from here, because even if it's minor, there's only 5 games left in the season. This guy's your potential game 1 playoff starter. He doesn't have another start in the regular season unless he comes in out of the bullpen just to see how that back feels. He's not pitching again regular season. You got to make a decision on him in the postseason. Minor or not, it's one more wrinkle to think about minimum. You got Kyle Tucker, who's already missed better part of the month so far. They don't know what's going on with. They said as recently as Tuesday, they don't have a timeline on him. He'll DH probably. When he does come back, does he come back for last regular season game or 2 just to sort of minor league rehab that thing more or less? Or do you dump him right into a playoff series? I'm telling you, man, Cap, there's things to be worried about. Let me ask you, the fan, are you more worried about Cade Horton's back, Kyle Tucker's calf, or the way PCA's hit lately?
Wow. I'm most concerned about Kyle Tucker's calf. Look, I know he's had his ups and his downs, but he has been, over the last 1,800 at-bats prior to coming to Chicago, one of the 10 best hitters in the sport. And he's still a guy that can get hot and carry you in a postseason. I absolutely 1,000% am most concerned about him.
Yeah, I'm tempted to go there too, because watching them against the Reds, that was an average offense I saw. And I didn't, PCA had a couple of moments, but he's swinging the bat and missing a lot. Tucker wasn't there. One game, Matt Shaw wasn't there, and that was a 1-0 loss that even the Reds manager noticed. Why aren't they pinch running for a guy late in the game when they got a guy leading off the 9th with a walk? But it's not a great offense right now. When Kyle Tucker was healthy and when PCA was hitting, that was the best offense in the game. That was a long time ago. And so I'd worry about that going into the postseason. Postseason tends to be close games anyway, oftentimes low scoring. And if you face the Padres in the first round, nobody's got a better bullpen. And if these games get to the bullpen, which playoff games often do, you could be in really bad shape. All that said, I think I'm more worried about Cade Horton's back, because you got to pitch. You got to have enough starting pitching to get you to basically shorten the game enough in a modern day playoff era when starters don't go a long distance anyway. You need to get as much as you can out of those guys. And Cade Horton was one of your best bets for doing that until this came up.
Okay, so what I'm reading right now on MLB.com, Horton exits due to back tightness and sickness, but he is okay for the postseason. So,
well, we assume that.
Yeah,
but but it sure does raise an alarm bell when you walk off the mound after 3 innings and you talk about your back being tight. Look, it's not an elbow, it's not a shoulder, it's not one of these things that you're sure is going to be a problem, and they say it's not going to be a problem. So, hopefully that's the case, and this guy's not hurt, and he gets his opportunity in the postseason. Maybe it's game 1. Whenever it is, you got to have a guy ready to piggyback.
All right, you sat down and talked with him, so take us through some of your conversation, because we've got some audio to play here on the Recap Podcast of the Cubbies.
Yeah, I talked to him about just what's been going right for we all know that he had that start in June where he didn't look good. He walked a bunch of guys, and he took a different approach. And he said it really kind of was that simple, just kind of retooling his mind. And he got on a roll like nobody else in baseball has gotten on since then. So basically the entire second mathematical half of the season, and it's put him in this spot for a game 1 playoff start. And I asked him about that too, whether he's heard the noise around that and what he thinks and whether he wants it.
You've obviously been pitching extremely well, especially lately. How do you look at this season so far, just measuring the season so far for you?
Yeah, I think it's been good. I just try to go out there and give my team a chance to win. That's my goal. And so I feel like I've done a good job of that and just continuing to build off that. And yeah.
Is this second half success really as simple as some of the stuff that I've seen or read about that one start you had that you kind of struggled, you just sort of locked in a different gear, or a different approach?
Yeah, I think, it's kind of freeing when something like that happens, just in the sense of like all the pressure's off now, like you're playing with house money. And so, yeah, after that start, I feel like I learned from it. And I knew the adjustment I needed to make, got my delivery in a good spot, and just kind of went a different approach mentally.
How do you feel right now, just in terms of physically with the workload, full season and all that?
Yeah, I feel really good. I've been bouncing back well. Just ready to get the postseason started and win some games.
I don't suppose now that you've clinched, they've talked about where you fall in that postseason order.
No, they have not. I'm sure that will come at a later date. But all I'm focused on right now is just continuing to find ways to get better and refining my craft.
Have you heard some of the debate out there? Should he start game 1? Should they hold him back for 2 or 3?
Yeah, I've heard, but all that stuff is just outside noise, and you got to come in every day and prepare yourself for whatever situation's thrown at you.
How mentally prepared do you think you are at this point for a playoff start, maybe even game 1?
Yeah, I feel really prepared. I think, big moments. I love big moments, and so I feel like I'm ready for that, and just continuing to focus on the little stuff. Yeah.
You want game 1?
It doesn't matter to me. I want to help my team win and continue to advance. So that's all that matters to me.
So there is some of the audio that you were able to get from Cade Horton. I would think he's the rookie of the year. I would start him in game 1. I think you would start him in game 1. He's been your best pitcher. I mean, other than Jake Arrieta, he has the best second half numbers basically of anyone we've seen in many, many years. Yet I talked to a former major league pitching coach and I said, who would you start? And he said, easy, Matt Boyd. He said, you watch him pitch for Cleveland last year in a postseason. The guy loves big moments. He said, I'd start him, and I'd have Tyone and Colin Ray in relief if I needed them. I'd go Cade Horton game 2 and Imanaga game 3. So, I mean, look, you got good pitchers.
I disagree with your guy.
I don't agree with him either. I'm just telling you what he said, and he's walked out to the mound more than you and I combined in him doing it once because we've never done it. That's what he would do as a big league pitching coach. I wouldn't.
Yeah. My thinking on Boyd is, like, I agree with that. And he's really good. He's also first full year after a major surgery, major elbow surgery. And the workload issue does become an issue at some point. And so you have to monitor that. You have to be careful of that. The fact that mentally he might be as equipped, maybe more equipped than anybody on the staff to handle those moments. I want him in 2 or 3 when those are either going to be closeout games or elimination games. For the Cubs, the most pressure is going to be in 2 or 3. So I'd rather have that there and take as much pressure off Cade Horton as you can. Such as it is as a playoff start, I think game 1's the least amount of pressure. If you think his back's okay, make sure you've got these guys, Ray and whoever, ready to piggyback for him, and then also for Boyd, and then go from there. And then it's all hands on deck.
Yeah,
that's what I'd handle it.
Look, it's 6 1/2 dozen of another, Gordon. You can't say. I mean, you can say whatever you want. I disagree with you vehemently a lot.
Yeah, let's just start with you're wrong, whatever you're about to say.
Yeah, I'm 100% right, because you can't tell me that there's more pressure starting game 1 than game 2, or more pressure starting game 2 or 3 than 1. It's the freaking postseason, probably at Wrigley, hopefully.
It's all pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all pressure. However,
so put the best freaking guy out there.
The comparison is kind of like the closer mentality in the 9th inning. There's something different about the 9th inning. There are great pitchers who can't handle the 9th inning. There are pitchers with a fraction of the stuff as some of those guys who can handle the 9th inning. It's because the 9th inning brings with it a different animal, even if it's a 2-run lead and you start a clean inning and you're in the middle or bottom of the order. It's a different animal to some guys. There's more pressure there than there is in the 8th inning, sometimes even in a tie game or up, trying to preserve a 1-run lead. So that's the comparison. That, like, if you don't win game 1, you're still alive game 2. That may not be the case in game 2. It's definitely not the case in game 3. And that's where the added pressure comes in.
Gordon, it's like when Ryan here in the office, my co-founder of the channel, Ryan tries to take me on in our basketball game that we have here in the studio. He knows he's in a playoff match every time. So the pressure, he just shot it and missed. The pressure is amped up at every competition. It doesn't matter, man. Put the best flipping guy out there. So that is my opinion on all of that. We'll get Gordon back here in a second. He's got that lousy Cincinnati Wi-Fi. Now we've got him back. So, Gordon, let me ask you about the lineup. PCA's hitting 9th. He was.
Yeah, he should be. That's
agreed.
That's how he's hitting.
But what took so long? Counsell, like, he's so stubborn. He kept running this guy out there in the 4-hole. He's not the guy that had 29 home runs the first 29 games of the season, basically. That guy was rolling. He's still at 29 home runs. Would you keep him at 9? I would.
I would absolutely keep him at 9. He's not hitting well, but he's got the kind of wheels down there that if he gets on base, he's a nice second leadoff man down there. And Nico Horner is raking right now. I would ride that wave for as long as I can. He's been around. He's a smart guy. I like his mentality going into the playoffs. Leave him right there.
How big a choke job will it be? If in your mind, because if they don't lock up home field advantage, having a 5-game lead the other day, and now it's down to 1.5, for me, that is gag city, man.
Well, here's the thing. The Padres are close enough to the Dodgers that if they play well enough to catch the Cubs, they might catch the Dodgers. Then you're in trouble because now you got the Dodgers in the first round, I think. Wouldn't that put you? Yeah, that puts you with the Dodgers in the first round in all likelihood.
If the Padres run them down.
So you better just hope it stays the way it is. But, yeah, that would be epic. And, they really have nobody to blame but themselves because they were in such a great position. That's why, Cap, I'm telling you, there's things to be worried about right now. Now, once the playoffs start.
PCA second half of the season, 209, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs. And I would bet you
and he's
Suzuki's numbers are worse. That's a problem.
It's a big problem because you got to the position you did in large part because this was the best offense in the game for half a season, and you built a huge lead. The pitching is good at the front end. It's good enough to compete, but there's not a lot of depth.
Yeah, 200, 2 home runs, 15 RBIs. And remember, this is the guy we went, boy, he's getting screwed not being in the All-Star game. Huh, I don't think so.
There's the other thing, the way the Padres are playing and the fact that they're playing for something every night this deep and probably for the next 3 or 4 nights. They will be razor
sharp.
That's exactly right. It's exactly right. And let me tell you something. I talked to 3 officials of teams that are already in the playoffs in the National League field. Nobody mentioned the Cubs as a team that they would be afraid to play. One of them said they would like the matchup. The team that they're afraid of is the Reds, because the Reds already have a rotation, and you saw what Hunter Green did the other night, and they've figured out their bullpen. They got 3 kids, 3 rookies that all throw 100 miles an hour and that are pitching their asses off right now. They've figured out their bullpen. That's a playoff-looking bullpen. They're not in. They're a game out right now. They might not make it, but nobody wants to see them, and I don't think people are afraid of the Cubs.
Yeah, and again, what do they know? They don't know anything. Somebody can get a big hit in a big spot, or somebody you go, oh God, Cade Horton threw 7 no-hit innings. Cubs what? Yeah, they won.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the playoffs start and all kinds of things happen. But,
okay, let me ask you this. So Craig Counsell, I've been critical of Craig. I have never said he's not a competent major league manager. He obviously is. He's won a lot of games. There's a reason he had people bidding for his services and the Cubs paid him what they paid him. That's all fair. But I have not seen the bounce effect of bringing him here where I'm like, wow, what an advantage that is. So now that they've gotten to the playoffs, let's assume they're going to get to 90 wins. They got 5 games left? Let's say that they win 2 of the 5. They're a 90-win team. How do you grade the job that the Cubs did and Craig Counsell did this year?
I give, when you say the Cubs, I'm thinking the front office, Jed Hoyer. I'll give him a better than average grade, C+, B-, because I halfway through the season, I was giving him an A. For going out and getting Kyle Tucker and doing what you did for that club. Some of the moves that paid off that were starting to pay off this year that we didn't see coming maybe a year or 2 ago in Palencia, things like that. So I give him a C+, B- because he failed at the trade deadline. He absolutely dropped the ball at the trade deadline, and they'd be in much better position right now, and you'd feel much better about them going into the playoffs if he'd acquired just a little bit more pitching.
Fair.
So that's that grade. Counsell, I give him a nice solid C+, B-. I don't think he screwed anything up. I don't think I think at times he managed I think he and the front office together are managing some of the workload issues that were in play here second half pretty well. I like that they're using a kind of a 6-man rotation here to keep innings down and be ready for the playoffs. I think all that's good. We'll see. I'm going to grade Counsell by what happens at least in the first round, if not the second round of the playoffs. He did not have success in Milwaukee in a postseason by and large. And that's where I think you make your bones as a manager if you've got a good enough team.
All right. Before I let you go, do the Cubs get home field advantage or do they gag it away?
Well, like I said, I mean, if they gag it away, they're playing the Dodgers, and then they're screwed. I do think that put it this way, I don't think the Padres are going to catch the Dodgers, and I do think that the Cubs are going to hold on, maybe barely, to that home field advantage. So I think you're probably okay there. You need to get Cade Horton right. You need to get Kyle Tucker back and hope that, and hopefully maybe in a game or two that last weekend, just so that he can get a feel for live pitching again before the playoffs start. And then cross your fingers, man. Hey, I want to say one more thing. You know, we talked about Cade Horton already, and we ran a clip on him. I don't know if we ran the whole thing, because we had 2 clips of him.
Yeah,
we ran the whole thing. Okay, because that's the other thing is, like, I got a rookie of the year vote. I didn't tell him that when I was talking to him, but as I looked at, there's a couple players out there that have like higher WAR. I'm still not impressed with them like I have been with Cade Horton. There's still a decision to be made there for whatever that's worth, and I know that's just symbolic and it's not as important as the playoffs. But he probably wins it. But it certainly didn't help him the way he finished the season.
Before I give you my prediction, we'd like to welcome a new partner here on the REKAP Network. It's our great friends at sinusandsnoringmd.com. I went there. My wife, Mindy, said, "Hon, the snoring, it's driving me nuts. It's got to stop." And we have a friend whose daughter works there. So I went. And guess what? I don't snore anymore. It was easy. It was amazing. And my wife said, "Okay, that's the greatest place on earth." And now they're a partner of ours here. Fall allergies in full swing, ragweed, mold, dust can trigger congestion. The cold, dry air makes your sinus problems worse, and snoring often gets worse as cooler weather leads to more indoor time and dry air. Do what I did. Sinus and snoring MD.com. Tell them I sent you. Tell them I don't want to snore anymore. Guess what? They have providers who speak English, Spanish, Polish. They've got multiple locations. It's sinus and snoring MD.com. All right, here's my prediction. The Cubs will beat the New York Mets. We're recording this on Wednesday. The Cubs will win the Wednesday game, and they will take at least 2 from the Cardinals. That knocks the magic number to 1, and the Padres don't win out. The Cubs get home field advantage.
What do you think about the playoffs?
I think the Cubs knock out the San Diego Padres, and then I'll see who they're playing. I do.
Wow. Well, I'll say this. I'd be afraid of the Padres bullpen. I'm not sure I'm afraid of everything else they've got. So it could be a really good matchup for them. Better than the Dodgers, maybe better than the Phillies. It could be the best first-round matchup they could hope for. So they got a chance. But, man, there's some things I'd be worried about.
Gordon, if they don't fly you somewhere else, we'll see you in the studio next week, and we'll do podcasts after each game. Hopefully it's more than 2.
All right, man. Yeah, that sounds good.
Have a great day.
All right, you too.
There he is, the great Gordon Wittenmeyer, my partner, right here on our Cubs REKAP Podcast, a presentation of our REKAP Network, and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcast. Brought to you by our great partners at the Illinois Tollway and their If Only campaign. Please don't be that one that says, "If only I had slowed down." The new campaign is called If Only. That's a powerful reminder that speeding doesn't just put you at risk. It puts everyone at risk and affects everyone on the road. Every crash leaves someone wishing they'd done things differently. So take the extra time, slow down, save lives. Lives, including yours, depend on it. Thank you to Gordon Wittenmeyer. Thank you to our brand new partners at sinusandsnoringmd.com. I'm David Kaplan. Have a great rest of your day. Get them, Cubbies. Let's go. Take that.